The first step in the beginner's method, like many other methods, is to actually solve the cross. And usually it starts off with a white cross. So in my opinion, the best way to solve the cross is to first solve the cross onto the yellow side. And it'll usually look something like this. So you get the 4 white edge pieces onto the yellow side. That way it's easier to put them onto the white side. So what are edge pieces? Edge pieces are these 2 pieces right here. And a solved white cross would look something like this. So you see the 4 edge pieces aligned with the correct center of white. And then they're also aligned with their other corresponding center. So white and orange is aligned with white and orange, and so on for the rest of the edges. That's what a solved cross would look like. So here are a few tips and tricks on how to solve the cross. So the first step, like I said earlier, is to bring all the edge pieces onto the yellow side. This makes it easier to align them up with their corresponding center to put them onto the white side. So there are a few cases that you'll run across. The first one, of course, it being solved, and if it is solved, you just leave it there. That's common sense. But now let's say you have a white edge piece on the bottom, and you're trying to bring it up to the yellow side. So what you have to do is just move it up twice to bring it up to the yellow side. However, be sure that you're not knocking out any other edge pieces when you're trying to align this one. So the way to fix that, instead of knocking this out, is in fact move it to one of the sides like this, either side you want, and then just move it up so that it goes to an empty spot and it's not disturbing the pattern. Then another edge piece orientation you'd find is like this, where the edge piece is in the second layer and it's facing you. So in this situation, whichever side the white piece is on, you use that hand. And since it's on the left side, I'll use my left hand, and all I have to do is move it up into the yellow layer. But be sure that if it's in a situation like this, you move the edge piece away so that you're not disturbing its pattern. Finally, you might get a piece on the bottom like this. And in this case, all you have to do is make sure that whenever the piece is facing you, the area above it is actually an empty slot without any of the white edges. Then what you do is you either move it up to the right or to the left. What this does is that it puts it in the second layer, so that's easy for you to insert just like this later on. So whichever side you choose, move it up to that side. And then what you want to do is you have to move the top layer again. Because right now, if you're going to move it up, it would knock out the green and white edge from the yellow layer. So then rotate the top and just put in the white edge like that. And that's the first part in solving the white cross. The second part is actually bringing down the white edges from the yellow to the white side. And so the first step on doing this is picking any edge. So in this case, I'll pick the blue and white edge. And then after you find that edge, try to see, you see it's a blue, so you have to match it up with the blue center, which in this case is over here. The way I do that is I move it over like this, and now it's correctly aligned with the blue center. All I have to do now is just move it down twice so that it's into the white layer, and now you have that one edge piece solved. Just continue to do this for the rest of them. So white and orange, just match it up with the orange center and bring it down. White and green. Find the white and green center, match it up, move it down. And lastly, for the red one, red and white, match it up and bring it down. And with doing that, you've properly solved the white cross. So basically, in recap, there are a few cases that you'll get when solving the cross. Either you'll have it solved like this, and if you do, just be sure not to knock it out whenever you're trying to move any other pieces into its position, or into the yellow layer. You'd also get the case where it's on the left and it's facing you. So if it's in the second layer and it's facing you, you use that hand and turn it up, being sure not to knock out any other pieces. And by doing that, and to preserve these pieces in the top layer, simply rotate the top layer and move it up. So like if it's on the right side, just use your right hand and do the same motion upward. And now let's say it's on the top or bottom facing you. For both of these cases, the situation is the same and the moves you do are similar. All you have to do is try to get it into the second layer. And if it's on the bottom facing you, just move it right or left, whichever way you like, being sure not to mess up any edge pieces in the top layer. And then once you move it to that side, just push it up with whatever hand it's on. If it's on the top, do the same exact moves, except make sure that you bring it down this time into the second layer instead of moving it up into the second layer. And whichever side you choose, use that hand and push it up. And then there's also going to be the case where the edge piece is on the bottom aligned with the white. What you do in that case is make sure there's no edges up here and simply move it up. So then this last case, it's just facing you, and then all you have to do, move it up. Now, make sure that you find the right edge piece that matches up the center. You align it, and then you bring it down, getting into the white side. White and green, green would go with green, and you bring it down. White and orange, orange goes to orange, like this, bring it down. And red in the green, move it to the red side, and then bring it down. And I'd always recommend to solve the cross on the bottom, even if some people might tell you to start solving the white cross on the top. The reason for this is that when you get faster, it's going to be more beneficial to actually hold the cross onto the bottom so that you can transition into doing your second layer quicker after you've solved the first layer. And it's better to start off with a good habit rather than to have to break it on later on. And that's how you solve the cross. That's Sir Cuber signing out.